News and a story that has disturbed many of us today. Facebook tribute pages for young Australians who have died are being targeted by an overseas online group who post inflammatory comments for kicks. In the past week, 2 young Australians lost their lives in tragic circumstances. 16-year-old South Australian Chantel Rowe was murdered along with her parents by a killer who remains at large. In Victoria, 17-year-old Cameron Lowe died after he was assaulted, leaving behind a devastated family.
It hits you in waves. Some moments you know, and in some moments you think you're going to wake up. And I just want him home. I want him home.
As their friends and family grieve, many have turned to Facebook to pay tribute to Chantel and Cameron. But according to reports, an overseas online group has desecrated the tribute pages with offensive comments and images. The comments have sparked outrage with police and Federal Communication Minister Stephen Conroy, who has contacted Facebook over the issue. So just how do you police online vandalism? And can those responsible ever be brought to justice? Joining us with his insight is online expert Colin Jacobs. Colin, thanks for joining us on the project. What can you tell us about the group responsible for these awful comments?
Well, we know these guys. They've been around for quite a while, and this is pretty typical of the pranks they get up to. They congregate around a particular website. There they brag about what they've done and plan the next hijinks. I'm not going to say who they are because that's exactly what they want, but needless to say, their work has all the class and sophistication of a bored 14-year-old boy with a chip on his shoulder.
You're spot on. Well, Colin, what is the government actually doing to curb this type of behaviour?
They're doing basically everything they can do to stop people overseas posting stuff on Facebook, which is not very much. We have seen a couple of premiers and the minister and even the police ask Facebook to do something. But that's about all they can do at the moment. They have had an idea in the past to create something called an internet ombudsman who would investigate complaints about offensive material, but even though the PM liked it, that idea didn't really fly for obvious reasons.
Now, Colin, there have been suggestions that these people could be charged under the Crimes Act for using a carriage service to menace, harass or cause offence. Do you think it's likely that any charges will come out of this?
It's not really very likely. We don't know who these people are or even what country they're all in. So to bring them to that sort of justice would require an international manhunt that would cost a lot of taxpayer money and take a lot of police time, and we might find in the end that they haven't committed a crime in the country that they live in. So I wouldn't expect we need an extra cell block just for these guys anytime soon.
Colin, let's talk responsibility here. You talked about our government asking Facebook. The people that run Facebook make a lot of money out of these people. Surely the responsibility is in their hands to do something to put an end to such horrible online vandalism.
Yeah, sure, to some degree. I mean, certainly, once the media get involved and they're getting some bad publicity, they're, pretty quick about deleting this sort of stuff. But the way they basically work and their business model involves people taking this responsibility themselves and policing themselves, and that's kind of, in most cases, they leave it to people to delete it themselves.
OK, Colin, so Facebook doesn't look like they're going to do anything drastic. The law is probably a few decades behind the internet at this stage. Is there anything people can do themselves to prevent this sort of thing happening? Well,
I mean, the tools are there that people who create a tribute page can go and delete the content, the offensive content, or they can, block people from the public being able to put stuff there. So, as we say, we probably can't rely on the internet police getting involved anytime soon. So it's going to be, we need some sort of combination of education so people know exactly how they can prevent this happening, and better tools. That would be Facebook being more proactive and making it easier for people to delete this sort of rubbish.
Colin Jacobs, thanks so much for joining us on the project tonight.
Thanks, guys.
It's really positive to hear that Colin can give us some steps, that we can take to prevent these fools, in my opinion, from at least winning. So at least, you can take some steps, make sure your page is not accessible for absolutely everyone.
But the thing is, we were talking about this before, we've created this thing, the internet, which crosses boundaries, doesn't have jurisdictions, it's an international thing, and yet we're so sluggish to come up with international laws to put in place to try and deter these people from doing this thing.
And it will take a long time for that to happen.